Hello viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're gonna talk about self-driving technologies. So let's dive right into it. First, what is the problem? We have been driving for almost a century, so what's the problem? Well, the problem is that we humans are really bad driver. To give you a context of it, how bad we really are, think of it this way. At this moment in time, as in like this day, around 3,700 people lost their life worldwide, and that's average. Like, of course, there are some good days where we only lose 2,000 people, but there are also bad days when we lose around 5,000 people. So you get the point. We are really losing a lot of people based on just car accidents, road accidents, and things of that nature. Like India has like a daily average of around 360 people. Basically, a lot of people lose their lives simply because of vehicle accidents. Now, why the heck we are so bad at it? Because when we learn driving, we are good, we are really good, we are cautious, we apply common sense, we are calm, we do what we're supposed to do. Then why the heck we randomly end up in an accident machine? Well, reality is we are not good at, like, as in this gray matter is really not good at boring and repetitive tasks. Now, why it's boring? Think of it this way. When you are driving to new roads, you are always cautious. You are like, I'm gonna pay attention. Like, if something happens, let's say there is a blind turn, you'll be like, okay, I do not know this area, I'm gonna apply brakes, I'm gonna relax. But what happens when you're doing that same blind turn 50 times? Now it's boring, now it's repetitive, you're not going to pay attention, and bam, bad things happen. This is normal. It happens to best of us. It happens to every single human. We are bad at it. It's not like, oh, you are bad or that driver is bad. No, we humans are bad at it. Fundamentally, on a core level, we are bad at it. So this creates a fundamental problem that we have to solve. And the more people start to use vehicle, the worse this problem gets. Now, mechanically, what we have to do to our vehicles. Now, hilariously enough, this part is already taken care of. Like, at this point in time, every car manufacturer already makes cars that are classified as drive-by-wire. Think of it this way. When you are looking at a car at 1970s, you apply brakes. It was directly physically connected to a brake. When you applied accelerator, it was physically connected to the throttle body. What happens now? Well, none of these things are connected to anything except brake for emergency reason. They have been done that way. But accelerator, it controls basically encoder. That encoder feeds the data to engine controller, and engine controller is like, okay, based on what I know of the engine, how the other ambient circumstances are, I'm gonna apply throttle or not. Everything is done like that. So that simply means at this point in time, there is a car controller fundamentally built into your car. Every mass production car built with after 2000s, they already have this technology. So to give you an example, power steering already has the control of your steering wheel. Anti-lock braking system inherently has braking control and better braking control than you do. Then we have automatic gears also. Now again, automatic cars started as like, luxury thing. Who's gonna buy it? To now every Tom, Dick and Harry in USA has automatic system. And even in India, because of the cost limitation, some unique things have been done. Like, for example, my car, Maruti Espresso, it has unique way of doing automatic gear. The gearbox is exactly manual transmission, normal clutch manual transmission. No hoo-ha with that. Only switching mechanism has been shifted. So fundamentally speaking, mechanically, that's the easiest part. Basically, any car manufacturer, be it Honda, be it Maruti, be it Tata, be it Mercedes, all of them can easily make a car that is compatible with autopilot without any issue. The mechanical part has already been taken care of. Maybe accelerator, but be mindful, it's already there. Like, encoder drives it. So that means there is a digital data pin where it's like, okay, if data pin is high, throttle up. So it's already taken care of. So that is surprisingly easy nowadays. Now we come to the sensor part, because we fundamentally, how the heck our car controller right now drives it is assuming that we know what we are doing, and our input acts as a guide for it. So we have to remove ourselves, because right now what we are doing, we are seeing the world and we are telling the car what to do. So we have to remove ourselves and make the car see the world itself directly. Now there are many types of sensors. First sensor is radar. Now radars have some good side effects and some bad side effects, but radar is not that popular. However, in one aspect, radar is really useful, especially if you want to drive a car very idiotically fast. Radars are best because they have ludicrously long range. As in, like, even in all weather, you can drive very fast. It will have really far range. Range wise, this puppy is good. Cost wise, not so much, and fidelity wise, really not that useful. And then we have to come to sonar. Now I'm pretty sure your car already has this. I'm pretty sure when you are doing reverse gear, it starts to beep the moment you start to approach something too close. It's like beep 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 beep. This happens. It's like we already have this sonar. Now lidar. Now this is the point of contention for many people. Lidar is an expensive equipment. What it does is basically fires beams of laser depending on design and manufacturing. It could be infrared, ultraviolet, whatever have you. Generally it won't be optical side because you're not supposed to see it. So it fires those laser beams and times it, like how long it took to come down. Now benefit of this is an actual 3D model that it creates and gives the data to the computer. Now benefit of this puppy, well, for side effect, it's idiotically expensive. Idiotically, like whole car versus this sensor is expensive. That's how expensive these things are. Now the prices are coming down a little bit, so now it's, instead of a luxury car, it costs almost like a engine block, so it's expensive. But the benefit of this puppy is the sole reason why every car company, every taxi fleet, some companies that are trying to use this, is the data that it gives out is absolute. It's on or off. It's like, let's say for example, your computer programming is like car is 2 meters wide. Do not go into any place that is only 2.5 meters wide. Try to have more than that, margin of error or things of that nature. It's gonna tell you, okay, there is a 2 meter gap, go there or not go there. There is no interpolation there. There's like data is there. You may want to filter it out, you may want to add some coloring data to it or whatever have you, but the data is absolute. It's clear. This is a car, or in this case, it will be a block of element you cannot go through. A block of element you cannot go through. It does not tell you anything other than that. It's just like a block of element is there. A block. Now again, you can process it. You can go ahead and be like, hey, that's a pedestrian, that's a small car, that's a big car. You don't have to do that. It's like, can you go through, yes or no? This gives very clear data with that, and that's why every car company is pouring money into this puppy. And what about the cost part? Well, mass production can make anything expensive cheap. Think of it this way, like try to tell anybody in 1990s that we're gonna have a smartphone that we replace every 2 years and how powerful our smartphones are. Like they're gonna be like, bro, how high are you? But that happens. Mass production can make anything cheap. And lidar sensors, and not to mention, as I was researching for this video, some companies are already claiming, I'm not sure how accurate they are, that they have already made solid state lidar. That's mind-boggling. If that is true, the end, lidar will become cheap enough. If enough people obviously place orders, it will become cheap enough. It's not optional. It will become cheap enough. So that's why almost every manufacturer other than Tesla is jumping YOLO into this. Now those were sensor-based system. Now we have another new kid in town, that is vision-based system. Now vision-based system is very familiar to us. That's how exactly we work. We do not have a radar, we do not have sonar, we do not have lidar. So how the heck we drive the cars? We use our eyes. We see the world. Now benefit of this, because of the smartphone boom, camera sensors have become dirt cheap, as in like idiotically cheap. And camera sensors right now you can buy, like as in like just go to a semiconductor manufacturer, is like, can you give me a camera sensor that is better than a human eye? Is like, how better do you want to? Like we have camera sensors that can read at 500 frames per second while having higher dynamic range than human eye. That means it can look at much brighter thing. Like basically even sunlight is directly shining at it, it's like I can still make things out. I will not be like blinding out. And in low light, it's like, bro, I can see in the dark. Flat out, I can see in the dark. And like so little amount of luminance, like car headlight would be like a bright as sunlight. It's like more than enough. Like our camera sensors are more than good enough to easily beat us. And the interesting fact that because of the read speed is so damn high, it can, when you are driving at high speed, everything starts to fade, like it starts to become like a blurry mess. Our brain tries to process it, and because we are good at it, we can do things. But a car, everything will be running in slow motion. It's like, okay, I'm going at 500 frames per second. It's like, I read the sign, okay, that car, yeah, that's not behaving properly, apply brakes. So that's the whole point. Flat out, we have cameras, cheap cameras that can beat us. Now there is a catch. There's the issue here. The issue is it needs processing to understand. Sensors, they're absolute. They're like, dude, go here or not go here. You don't have to do interpolation. Like you still need AI, because AI you would need to like calculate what you call tangential velocity. Like I have to still go somewhere. It's not like just apply brakes, because sensors most of the time they will say apply brakes. You still have to like, can I go left, can I go right? You need AI for that. But here you need another level of AI where it's like, please process the image, because this image whole gets sent to the processing unit, and the processing unit has to make out, this is a car, I cannot drive into this. This is a small car, I cannot drive into this. This is a person, I cannot drive into this. This is a sign, pay attention to this. This is street lamp, do not pay attention to that. Like a computer has to process this, and there is no data into this. It's just a feed, a video feed. It has to do processing. Now, consequence of that, while we do watch many artificial intelligence videos and be like, whoa, AIs are so advanced, AI has not gone through what we call evolutionary trial of million years like we have done. Like this puppy has gone through the a lot. So what does that mean? That simply means we do not trip. Never ever we ever trip. Like even if you have randomly new things, we will never trip. We always trip because of our own things. Like we are distracted, that's why we trip. We are doing boring tasks, that's why we trip. We are doing repetitive tasks, that's why we trip. It never trip if something unknown happens. Heck, at that point we are laser focused. Now that is the reason why we had a Tesla Model 3 directly crash into a truck that was flipped over. If it had lidar would have not cared like what is there in it. Lidar would have simply said, dude, a blockage in the road, apply brakes or go around it. As simple as that. But because Tesla was using optical system, the optical system did this job. Everything was working. It's just like computer got stuck. It's like, what exactly is there? Why there is a white block in a road? It's like, does not make sense. I'm supposed to go there, but why there's like, it looks hilarious. Like I have provided a video down below and it's like car is coming, and like, apply brakes. No. Please apply brakes. No. And bang. And if you really want to pay attention to that, you will find there are like really horrifying accidents where Tesla cars are like, you know what would be nice? Driving inside a truck. That happens. It's like, it really happened. It's like, because the gap in the, basically the semi-truck section, basically you have engine block, then you have the cargo, and then you have rear truck. Because there is a small gap, like, you know, how Fast and Furious try to drive into that, the Tesla actually tried to do that, and loss of life has occurred because of that, because of the vision system. Vision systems, I'm damn sure in future by 2100, damn sure that will be the only way. And that time processors would have gone through enough trial data, million years of, as in like million years, not in real years, million years of actual training data. It would have been become good enough, like hundreds of cars, millions of cars driving 24/7 into 365. Of course, that will pile up very quickly. I'm damn sure about that. However, right now, as of this moment, as of me making it in 2021, the understanding part is still weak. That's why there are many accidents where vision systems are like, what should I do? But it's a moving car. You do not have that luxury of what should I do, or should I test it, like, you know, directly going into a truck to test it. That should not happen. But that's why I'm kind of skeptical of whenever people say Tesla has the most advanced driving system. Yes, it does, but it also has the most what we call trippable. It's like one miscalculation is like, you know what would be nice? Driving directly into the divider. It has happened. So fundamentally speaking, that's why like I used to think like, you know, I used to buy the hype cooler from Tesla. It's like, you know, that's why like, you know, lidar, because it's so expensive. Again, nothing is expensive or cheap. It's just like how quickly you manufacture. It's like, why do you think Raptor engine is so cheap? It's a rocket engine, most powerful engine ever made, like most closed cycle, everything is amazing and awesome. How the heck they are manufacturing it with mass production? You make it mass producible, everything becomes cheap. So fundamentally speaking, talking about cost is not, and given the fact that gives absolute data, it's like go here or not go here. At this point in time, LiDAR systems are far more reliable, and it's like, will it LiDAR trip over? Yes, again, because there is an AI element behind it, so it could still trip up, but likelihood of that would be low, and it will trip over in much more complicated scenario. This puppy will trip over even in like weird scenarios, like, dude, why the heck you are driving into a divider? Why the heck you are driving inside a truck? Why the heck you are driving into a fallen over truck? It's like, those things will are less likely, not zero, less likely. Now let's understand the future aspect of this. This will happen. We will go driverless. Heck, there are already many car manufacturers that are already testing out steering wheel less cars. Flat out. All major manufacturers, it's done. The end, game over, it's already done. Now question is how long it will take. Like maybe 2050, maybe 2000s. My money is on 2000s. Now one very sober thing we have to understand is that there will be loss of life. It will not, we will not be like, you know, everybody self-driving, no loss of life. That will not happen. Fundamentally, that never happens. That's like only people who are like very bad at mathematics, or like, you know, buying into the hype of Richard Branson is like, you know, we're gonna have this space plane system and there's gonna be absolutely safe as airlines went through hell to reach a point where you're like, okay, I'm gonna climb on an airport and most likely I'm gonna land. That happened after rivers of blood. And when he was doing that Virgin Galactic system, and it's like, boom, why the heck it went boom? It's an untested system. Same thing will happen with self-driving car. Yes, there will be less loss of life, but there will be loss of life. And because of the documentation nature, because the camera will be there, because of the data gathering would be there, it would be very vibrant, it would be quote unquote HD. We will see it, and because of the nature of it, it will be sensationalized. Like, why the heck I know there is a truck flipped over on a highway and then got collision with a autopilot car, because of the autopilot part. It was so sensational. I know about it, you also have known about it. That's the whole thing. Even though, let's say for example, let's say India has a record of like, let's go 100 people per day based on car accidents alone. Again, we also have a lot of two-wheeler deaths, so two-wheeler we are not counting. 100 people per day. Now with autopilot, let's say that number goes down to let's say only 10 people, but still 10 people. And not to mention, because of the equipments involved, those documents would be like very, very well publicized. So we have to be ready for some loss of life. Like, we have to be mentally prepared about this. Like, this is something that we have to go through. Like, if the early pioneers who made aircrafts what they are today, if they were afraid of death, we would not have an aircraft industry. Same thing will happen with this. We have to go through this. Yes, it sucks, and I'm reasonably sure if this video ever gets watched a lot, with large enough audience, somebody would have known somebody who have lost someone important based on a vehicular accident. So we have to be sober about this. Like, this delusional idea, like, somebody's saying like, oh, even if a UFO lands in the middle of the road and like, car should not crash, I'm like, that's a aspirational goal. Awesome, but not achievable yet. Heck, it has to go through that. Like, it has to physically go through that statement in order to figure out, no, we can manage this. Now, over time, this will also become necessary, because the more people starts to flood into the central cities, the roads are limited. Now, again, if all cars are driving even a slow speed of, let's say, 50 kilometer per hour, that's more than fast enough. That's more than fast enough. But if everybody is doing it in sync, awesome. Your cars will be like, everything is awesome. But what we have is like, I saw open space, bam, go as fast as possible, then apply brakes. Go faster, like that creates a traffic jam, and then it piles up. So there is a serious requirement that we cannot waste our life in traffic jams. I used to work in Bangalore, and I was wasting 2 hours plus per day just going to the job. That's a lot of time, lot of physical time, which I cannot buy back. So it will become necessary. And so the future is absolute. We're gonna have this. It's just like, when. Now my money is on the later part, rather than like early 2030s or 50s. I'm pretty sure by 2100s it would be there, even in India. But it will take this time. It's gonna take its sweet time to get here, and it will not be pleasant. We will be learning that, like, what happened to that early pioneers in HD. So this was my presentation on self-driving tech. I hope you liked it, learn from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment, because I try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.